Hey, I'm in America. I do really like New York. It's one of my favorite cities in the world, weather aside. This is my first time here in December. Probably going to be my last time here in December. I can't feel my lips as I'm talking. But because it's such a big tourist site, I'm really not sure what I can show you that everybody else hasn't already, because I'm really just retreading the tourist sites from last time I was here, as I haven't really got any pictures, and it was a long time ago. It's like this morning I walked from Harlem into Times Square to buy an I Love New York t-shirt. It was a lovely walk, as cold as it was. Beautiful in Central Park early in the morning. I really love the view there. And then I'm going to head to Katz's Deli to try a Reuben. But apart from that, I think the most interesting parts of this video will be outside of NYC. So Katz was an experience, probably a little bit tourist trappy. It was the longest I've ever waited for a sandwich. And it was not the best Reuben sandwich I've ever had, despite the fact it was the most expensive by several orders of magnitude. But I did discover the egg cream drink, which is a New York specialty. I'm a big fan of that. I do like these little regional variations of food across America. I was in Idaho last year, and I loved, what was the novelty dish? It was an ice cream potato. It was fun. And I think it's time to head upstate now to try another fun dish. If I thought New York City was cold, upstate was not the right way to go. It's snowing here and everything. But behind me is the reason I'm here. Nikki Tahoe Hots. I'm here to try a garbage plate. That place is everything I love about America. It was full of locals. The owner seemed to know everybody. Service was friendly, and it was just that sort of diner you don't find anywhere else. The vibe is much unlike Katz's, and I greatly preferred it. Plus, the food is actually at a reasonable price. The garbage plate itself looks very unappetizing, and I was not expecting it to actually taste good, but oh boy. Despite being largely devoid of color, each component of the dish was fresh and tasty. The home fries were super crispy, and it was seasoned to perfection. It was a really flavorful dish. And I had a bit of a come to Jesus moment. The same experience I had when I first tried real poutine in Canada. I came to Rochester specifically for that garbage plate, but it's a really nice town. I'll be back, I think. It has a really nice winter vibe. I'm in the Amtrak station now. Luckily, I was able to get a last-minute ticket. I'm heading off to Buffalo for a little bit, and then up into Canada. So I've just come out of Canada and down to Memphis, Tennessee, which is a very welcome relief weather-wise. First time in days I've not had to wear a coat. It's amazing. But I'm going to explore a bit of the South, which is a part of the US I have never really been to before, except for Texas. And I think it's going to be a lot of barbecue, to be honest. I really wanted to do like a Mississippi River cruise or something while I'm here, but apparently they don't operate in December, and I can kind of see why. The river doesn't look particularly high. But I'm going to walk across the Mississippi at least. Hopefully there's some nice scenic walk over on Mud Island. And then that bridge there, if I choose to walk over that, takes me to Arkansas. Mud Island is actually pretty cool. There's this model of the Mississippi that you can walk along. There's actually a Mississippi River Museum. And I'm here in December, so it's completely quiet. This is why I love traveling in the off season. I imagine it's filled with water in the summer, but it's not too bad just as a topographic map. Yeah, I'm definitely not going on a cruise. That all looks like it's pretty under construction at the docks there. Now, Memphis is home to the 10th largest pyramid in the world. And this being America, of course, it is a fishing and camping shop. It used to be a stadium, but apparently it did not see a lot of use. Look, I was near Memphis in Egypt last year, and I went inside the biggest pyramid in the world, the Great Pyramid of Giza, And there's nothing really in that. This one has pretty much everything. You can buy fishing gear, you can buy a boat, lots of guns, there's a pistol range in there, there's a hotel, there's a couple of restaurants. It's, yeah, probably the better pyramid. I had my first taste of southern barbecue here in Memphis with a lovely rack of ribs, half with the signature Memphis dry rub, half with a wet barbecue sauce, plus Texas toast, some barbecue spaghetti, some coleslaw. And then I headed down to Beale Street on this cold Tuesday night in December to see if I could catch some entertainment. One good thing about America is Americans. They might seem loud and scary at first, but they're generally very nice. A good example is here in the South. I asked a few questions online about how to get around without a car, or how to hire a car and driver for the day, and people just volunteered to drive me around. They took time off work, super friendly, didn't know me, I'm a complete stranger, and that's pretty awesome. So I'm on Junction Bridge in downtown Little Rock, Arkansas, and I've got to say my experience with the South so far, particularly Southern hospitality, has been nothing short of amazing. As I was saying, an internet stranger, more or less, picked me up in downtown Memphis, Tennessee, drove me to Hot Springs, Arkansas, gave me a fully guided tour of the town, the historic bathhouse row, as well as one of the bathhouses. We went hiking as well on some of the trails. It's a really beautiful part of the world, some beautiful foliage this time of year. Had some great lunch. I had waffles and chicken for the first time in my life. Then he drove me back to Arkansas, and then I had to pay for dinner, and I realized I'd left my credit card at lunch in Hot Springs, and him and another friend drove me to Hot Springs quite late at night. They both had work the next morning, to pick up my credit card, and then drove me back to Little Rock again. And that's really going above and beyond and really helped me out of a sticky situation, because I would not want to be without a credit card for the rest of this trip. Little Rock itself, I'm not too sure what there is to do here. We went to a great little brewery, Lost 40, and the bridges are cool. This is, as I was saying, Junction Bridge. There's another bridge over there that looks pretty much identical, to be honest. And yeah, I'm kind of wandering around River Market, but I seem to be the only person here, so it's probably not the tourist season. So I think I'm going to hit the Clinton Presidential Library, because, you know, he's a fairly interesting president. And then I'm going to see if I can find somewhere that will sell me what's apparently an Arkansas specialty, though it's not really a restaurant food, but biscuits and chocolate gravy. The other specialty I did try was cheese dip at the brewery. That was pretty good. But Arkansas is not so well known for its barbecue like the other states. And I'm going to continue this trend of Southern hospitality here in Birmingham, Alabama, where someone I have met has agreed to drive me all across the state to try all of the different barbecue. Alabama is an amazing place, full of amazing people and amazing barbecue, at least based on the few days I had there. I particularly wanted to try the signature white sauce, which is very unique from other states' barbecue sauce, and it's usually had on chicken or turkey, which is again fairly unique, with most states being more famous for pork or beef. I tried my first white sauce at Soar's in Birmingham, a local institution, on a pulled chicken sandwich. I loved it, but not as much as the pork and greens with onion rings. There's no shortage of pork and red sauce either, as I found out in a few places. Up between Talladega and Pell City is a cool little place called The Shack. I got to tour the pit. So good, we'll have some meat in a sec, I'm sure.
Yeah, this is what we had right here.
Are they just coming off?
They're just coming off.
And then indulge in beans, slaw, chopped pork, and ribs. Tuscaloosa was an interesting one. It has two beloved institutions, Dreamland and Archibald's, and there's apparently a bit of contention over who is best. Dreamland was busier and seemed to have a lot of tourists, but it was worthy of them. The free white bread with hot sauce to start was something I found novel, but it was actually a good way to get acquainted with the sauce, and the pulled pork sandwich I had was very tasty. Archibald's was more of a hole in the wall, which was more my vibe. I had a rib sandwich here, which was just ribs and more white bread. Very messy to eat, but very, very good. So you get on the sandwich?
It's you just kind of eat the ribs and eat the bread and dip them in the sauce. It's not really a composed sandwich per se. It's mostly ribs and bread. There you go. Before I. This is way too much. That's way too much too. But
Some good chopped pork.
Pork shoulder and.
I got to try a bit of pulled pork as well. And on balance, I think Archibald's won in terms of meat. I found the pork in particular to be a lot softer than at Dreamland. However, you just can't go past Dreamland sauce, which has a much better kick. It's almost a little bit spicy. Though feel free to disagree with me in the comments. I just got back from trying my last southern specialty before I head down to Florida. Boiled peanuts, which I quite liked, especially the ones boiled with Wickles pickles, a local Alabama brand of pickle.
I figured that would be a home run.
And there's like a bit of chili in there to it.
Yeah. It's also got a bit of horseradish.
Oh yeah, is that what that is?
Yeah.
And I'm here in Florida to finish out the American leg of my trip. It's been a really good trip. And I'm actually finishing it off today in style on the Everglades. I'm really lucky when I travel. I very often get like major tourist sites to myself. So some of note include, I think there's a video on this channel called I Get the Great Wall of China to Myself. When I first went to the Eiffel Tower, I had that more or less entirely to myself. On this trip alone, I went to Niagara Falls. It was completely empty. Actually, when I went to Victoria Falls too, I ended up getting a private tour of the Devil's Pool. And a similar thing has happened here today. I don't really try to time like peak season, off season, whatever. I travel when I travel and the destination is what it's like. But I do seem to have a penchant for picking dates that are quiet.
Faster than big alligators do. So the smaller the gator is, actually the more dangerous. About a 5-foot female is your most dangerous alligator. Just because of how much, I don't know if this is male or female, but it's got a big scar on the top of his back there, it looks like. But yeah, this is actually a really dangerous. Yeah, remember, roughly 75%. So pretty much every plant that we see out here is going to be edible or medicinal. The plants out here. Look, this tree right here in front of our boat.
I should actually point out, I have been trying to lose weight this whole trip and have been actively trying to keep up a calorie deficit. And I finally was able to weigh myself, and I have actually lost 6 pounds. I don't know what that is in kilograms, but psyched. And that concludes my time in these United States. I have been to the US a fair bit in my life, but it was really cool this time to see something a bit different, to get out of the big cities and the major tourist areas, to get into places like Rochester and Birmingham and Little Rock. I had a great time. Thank you so much to all of the Americans who took a lot of time and effort out of their day to help make sure I had the best experience possible. I think the focus of the channel going forward will probably be more on aviation content as opposed to these destination videos, though you never know. The reason for that is the things I love about travel, particularly in my time here in the United States, has been the people-to-people interactions, getting the vibe of a new place, and these things I find really hard to capture on camera because I don't really like to pull out a camera when someone's being really nice to me or whatever. That said, on this trip I do go to the Bahamas, I do go to Cuba, I do go to Venezuela. So I think I will make videos in each of those destinations before I make a final decision. But thanks so much for watching. Happy travels.